If you're listening to us on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, you are doing it wrong once again because we are live on Twitch every Monday night at 9 p.m. And here we are once again. This is the Anglo-Italian Pod. I'm Tommaso, and you can find us on Instagram at Anglo-Italian Pod. And as always, I'm joined by
Rory. Hello, and you can find us on Twitter at Italian Anglo Pod. Tommy, how was your Monday? We saw each other this weekend, so how was your Monday?
My Monday has been good. The lessons are slowly dying. There are less and less courses. I haven't taken up any new ones for June, as my sister will be visiting again after 1 year and a half. So I'm going to have some time to hang out with the sissy. How was your Monday?
It was all right. I think this weekend I went a bit too hard on the old booze, and I was feeling a bit rough this morning. My students were asking if I was in a bad mood. I had to just pretend I was ill. But apart from that, it's fine. And like a couple of weeks ago, I was feeling smug that it was all exam season and like no classes. Well, now it's time to mark all the exams, and I'm suddenly feeling a lot less smug. But you know, nearly June, nearly summer, ready for the holidays.
Yeah, I was thinking about it tomorrow. I was like, yeah, I have such few classes. What am I going to do during my mornings with such few students? And then I was like, man, I've got like 25 papers to correct. So that's what I'm going to be doing tomorrow morning. Good evening also to Chris Hamilton, Steve Cole 1984, and the Hopeless Wanderer podcast. They are always there whenever we're online. Thank you for your support. We are going to slide into your DMs very, very soon to ask you about a special episode and whether you want to take part in it or not. Rory and I agreed to start this episode from where Chris is watching, from the city of Leicester. And we would like, in particular, to salute, let's see if I remember all the names, Christian Fuchs, Kasper Schmeichel, Wes Morgan, Jamie Vardy, and Daniel Albrighton. Is it Daniel?
Mark, so close.
Mark.
So close.
And Mark Albrighton. Why didn't I write down their names besides the last names? But it's for you guys. You were there when you won the Premier League, and you were there when you lifted the FA Cup. What a fucking crazy story for the Mighty Foxes, Rory.
It is, honestly. Saturday, I feel like, I don't know whether not being able to go to the football is making me more emotional about football now, because I said that when I saw Inter's celebrations, I got quite emotional, and then Saturday I got really quite choked up when Leicester won. It was just amazing to see. There was so much to love about this final. It was that the fans were finally back in the stadium. It was that the FA Cup finally seemed to be back on the pedestal that it once was. We had the Leicester owners, just that how every club now is looking at their owners like very enviously. We had the players at the end, Chowdhury and Fofana, holding up the Palestinian flag. There was Vardy drinking beers on the way home and eating McDonald's the next day for breakfast. The goal from Tielemans was unbelievable, and his celebration, I loved it. It was just so cool, so calm. For like, as understandably, the Leicester fans went absolutely mental. Seeing like the limbs there was incredible, and then Tielemans just stood there really cool and calm and collected. I thought it was incredible. There was a great video of the Chelsea fans celebrating the goal before it was ruled off for offside. I don't know if you've seen that, which is definitely worth finding. There's Gary Lineker tearing up on TV about his dad was at the last final but wasn't at this one, and his dad like passed away recently, and it was just everything about this game. It seemed like the emotion was just there. It was at the forefront, and I think finally the FA Cup has got, it felt like a huge FA Cup final, and I think I put it on our Twitter post. I've never been happier for another team to win a trophy. I was just so happy for Leicester, so happy for them.
I agree with you 100%. We were together, and I can vouch for that. Rory really stood up from the couch, started punching the air as if he was a born and bred Leicester fan. Looking back at it, we've mentioned Leicester so many times this year in our pod. And of course, I apologize to any Thai listeners for my pronunciation. This one is especially for Kun Ayawat Srivadana Prabha, the president of Leicester Club, the son of the owner who tragically died in a helicopter crash outside of the King Power Stadium just a few years back, I want to say. Yeah, this is for you. This is for the farsightedness that your family has had into planning the future of this club. I think that the family of the Leicester fans, the players, they all love this ownership. They deserve it. It's a huge, huge accomplishment for such a small city in the Midlands. After the Premier League, they've stayed up consistently. They've made themselves like a customary guest into the top 6 of English football, I want to say. There are even debates going on online about should Leicester be considered one of the so-called top 6 clubs. But one person especially, the one who eats McDonald's hangover in the morning, I just wanted to read this tweet from ESPN FC. 10 years ago, Jamie Vardy was 24 and playing in the 5th division of English football. Since then, he has reached the World Cup semi-final, won the Premier League, broke the Premier League scoring record, won the Premier League Golden Boot, played in the UCL, and lifted an FA Cup. What a fucking career, right?
That guy, like all the stats were coming out about him today. Like he is the first player to have played in every single round of the FA Cup. So the preliminary qualification rounds all the way up to the final. Yeah, like we all love Jamie Vardy, right? The fact that he's not just like an incredible player. He's just like a normal bloke who like, I know I went to school with people like Jamie Vardy, quite chavvy people who were like, just a normal lad. But you love it. And like, I love it about him. And like, his pre-match ritual is just like downing 3 Red Bulls and then like running forever. Like, I just love how like he still acts like a Sunday League player, but it's like Premier League quality. And I hope that doesn't sound bad. That's not meant to sound bad. I think it's just what a player. Like we've sat at yours, Tommy, and just watched goal compilations of Jamie Vardy and been like, my God, this guy is a monster. Like he's a monster. And what an achievement. Premier League and FA Cup with Leicester. Unthinkable 5-10 years ago, right? But now, like Steve has mentioned, not only the ownership, smart transfers, staff, and scouting. Exactly. This club is run like one of the biggest clubs in England. It is possibly the best run club in England at the moment. Seems so strange for a foreign owner to come in and have such a close connection with the city when obviously now the theme at the moment is how much everybody hates their foreign owners. I think every fan in the country was watching the scenes of Schmeichel bringing on the owner onto the pitch and him like hugging the players and being like, damn, I wish they owned our club. I really wish they owned our club. But yeah, their scouting is incredible. We've talked about it before, how they sell players like Mahrez and Kante and just bring in players like Ndidi and Iheanacho and bring in these players that just seem to replace them in the system straight away. Even Castagne's come in from Serie A and been really good for them this year. Like their recruitment is always on point. And it just seems like such a great club to be at the moment. And yeah, said it before, we'll say it again, could not be happier for Leicester City fans.
And I couldn't be happier for Jamie Vardy, who I remember there were, well, you know the story better than me, Rory. There were rumors of him joining Arsenal the year after winning the Premier League trophy. Mm-hmm. And I believe we had this conversation already that it was a decision of the player not to leave Leicester because he knew that his lifestyle would not be accepted in any other club. But what a smart decision. You stay there and you still win an FA Cup. You still play Champions League football. It's a beautiful, beautiful story.
Well, in this age of like footballers getting statues, would you be surprised if there's a Vardy statue there in 10, 15 years? I don't think you'd be surprised,
No.
Like, what that guy has done for that club, it's insane. It's insane.
And if there is a Vardy statue, Chris, you will hate this, but it needs to be in the posture that he had when he scored that volley versus Liverpool, which I believe was also the goal to seal like the longest goal scoring streak in the Premier League.
Yes,
and
it
that
was.
goal, man, I will always remember that goal. Shout out also to S2F Gaming, who says, I will turn these viewers into more. We are all about it. Please be our Jesus Christ. Multiply the fish. We want all the fish. All right, I'm done. But Rory, we started.
Should we actually talk
Cup.
about the game, though? I feel like we should talk about the game a little bit. We've just
Let's
talked
talk about
the kind of the after effects. The game, I think, was actually a very good final. I think it was obviously helped by the fact that fans were back in the stadium, but I feel like neither side were really outstanding, but Chelsea definitely played into Leicester's hands. Like, Leicester were able to catch them on the break and were often more dangerous than Chelsea, I think. And I just, like, big moments of the game, we haven't even talked about the Schmeichel save at the end either.
Yeah, man, that one was such a sick save with your weak left hand at the bottom, just like to have that strength to keep it open and wide and to save such a powerful shot. Who was it that shot? I don't remember now.
I think it was Mason Mount.
Mason Mount. Yeah. And it was quite a nice strike as well. That save got us all up from the couch. We were all just like, what the heck? I feel like it was a good, well-fought game on both sides, but I loved that when Chelsea made that mistake, Leicester were able to capitalize on it. And that's what a lot of great teams do. You don't need that many chances, but when you're given a chance, you don't want to miss it. So I think it's a win that also shows Leicester's maturity, how it has grown over alienating into such an important win.
Yeah, it was incredible to see. And you just got to, like, let's talk about the Tielemans goal as well, right? So kind of from nowhere, I think Tielemans is a player that people have kind of slept on for a while. He's a very, very good player. And now he's really announced his name and put himself on the map. But it's great to see just what a goal, just a beautiful goal, a goal worthy of winning a cup final, right? And like I said before, the cold as fuck celebration just calmly stood there in front while fans just lose their mind. And I'm going to have to quickly say, my cousin did tell me about someone, Chris did tell me about someone who turned down a ticket as a Leicester City fan because the atmosphere wouldn't be that good, in quotes. What an idiot. You have just given up the opportunity of a lifetime, you fool. What have you done? What have you done?
Maybe he's a customary listener of the pod. Don't insult him. But in Italian we would say, "Ma che cazzo fai? Vai allo stadio e guarda il Leicester, dude." I would have gone to the stadium. I would have gone. But that was the FA Cup. But Rory, the question is, where does this leave Chelsea? This loss.
This is going to be a big one, I think. This was the final this was the, in quotes, easier final of the two. Right, so I think they're going to be in a very different position. For this one, they are the favourites. For the Champions League final, they're not the favourites. So I think they can approach it in a different way. But without any research behind this, I seem to think that when teams have a succession of finals, when they lose the first one, they very rarely do well in the second one. I tend to think of the one that comes to mind is Bayer Leverkusen in the 2000s. Do you remember they had the German Cup, then they had the Champions League final, and they had the final game in the Bundesliga, and they ended up losing all three and getting nothing, right? And I feel like I've heard it a few times. When you've got successive finals, if you lose one, then it's a mental thing. It puts more pressure on that one final now. I think it could have a huge effect on the Champions League final. Should we talk about Tuchel's record in finals as well? I don't feel like his record in finals is pretty terrible.
Yeah, you go for it. You go for it. By the way, I'm just gonna give a quick shout out. Remember that we are going to be covering the Champions League final live. Follow us on Twitter at Italian Anglopod or on Instagram at Anglo-Italian Pod to know when we're going to be online and all the channels that you need to type on your computer to find us. But yeah, you have like a feeling like Tuchel's record in the finals is not that great. He lost the FA Cup. He lost the Champions League last year. What about league finals, Rory? Do you have that stat in front of you?
So I have here that Thomas Tuchel has had in seven major finals, he's got 3 wins, 3 wins, 2 draws, and 2 losses. No, wait, 3 wins and 4 losses. That's it. 3 wins and 4 losses. 3 of them were with PSG, so the French Cup and the Coupe de la Ligue, which is like their version of the League Cup. So his record in major finals isn't that great. And of course, he did lose the Champions League final last year with PSG, right? So I think it might be something to concern Chelsea fans. And it's funny because all of a sudden the narrative of Tuchel has been doing an incredible job at Chelsea, it switches like that, right? And all of a sudden you're like, oh, they're just going to be the nearly men, because then all of a sudden maybe they're looking for a new manager again. If you know what I mean, it's crazy how that one result can suddenly be like, not saying they're going to sack him, but down the road they could be like, oh, well, this guy he's got us to the final, but he's not quite got us there. I mean, the optimism has fallen quite quickly just from one result, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, I can understand it, but if you sit down and look at the numbers, you look at the season he has had at Chelsea, you look at the goals they have conceded since he has arrived, you look at the games they have lost since he has arrived. I mean, he almost single-handedly took them to the Champions League final, because I don't think that under Lampard they would have won anywhere far. But I want to say, Steve Cole is writing that Man City will play into Chelsea's tactics.
That's true.
And I do agree with you. And that's why I'm afraid that as much as we are thinking that it's going to be fireworks all over the place, it's going to be quite a conservative final. I think that both teams are going to be kind of afraid to open up too much space. It's going to be an interesting tactical game, in my opinion. What do you think?
I feel like I need to clear up what I said. I'm not saying they should sack Tuchel, right? That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that all of a sudden a narrative that has been how incredible he rightly has been for Chelsea from these 2 lost games could completely switch and could completely disappear. I am not in any case saying they should fire him. He's been amazing for them. The switch of the narrative could be quite quick. Yeah.
It could be also because we know if there is a club that makes quick, sometimes questionable decisions, it's Chelsea Football Club. So I wouldn't be surprised if after the Champions League final, there started to be new talks about a possible new manager and all of that. But Rory, since we started from England and since we have midweek action, we need to go to the Premier League where, I mean, shall we start from that goal?
Well, there's nothing else to talk about in the league. I think a game that I really was not looking forward to watching, and even in the first half was like, why am I watching this game? All turned into absolute scenes based on the final 5 seconds. So we are, of course, talking about West Bromwich Albion 1, Liverpool 2. Now, we talked before about how Liverpool actually don't have that great a record against West Brom, and West Brom took the lead through Hal Robson-Kanu, a player I've not heard of in years, with a beautiful little break, put West Brom in the lead, and then Salah, as he has done so many times this year, just pulled Liverpool out of the shit with a beautiful finish, just no backlift, rocket, bottom corner. But we need to talk about the final second. So the second half, I switched over and started watching the Spanish football because I was like, this game's terrible. Nothing's going to happen. And then just casually checking Twitter, and I was like, wait, what? Who scored? What? I straight away messaged Chris like, shit, what did I miss? So last seconds of the game, Alisson Becker comes running up, real big stride. He looks like a powerful, powerful man. And that header, right, is a bloody good header. If a striker scores that, like, if that's like a Drogba-esque header, right, where he's getting praise for that kind of finish. Unbelievable. Obviously, so great to see all the players just swamp him. Scenes, as they say. And then the interview afterwards, again, it's been a bit of an emotional weekend, guys. I think it's just a bit too much beer. But watching that Alisson interview afterwards, where he's talking about his dad, he's like, I'm sure he's up there watching him with God on his side. It's just like, oh, it really got me. Just such a beautiful moment. And like the first goalkeeper to ever score for Liverpool, the 6th goalkeeper to score in Premier League history, the first one with their head, which blew my mind. I think it's almost weird. Like, if I could pick a player for it to happen to, I'd pick Alisson. If you know what I mean, I feel like he comes across as such a like utter professional, nice guy. Like, obviously world class. Just what a moment! What a moment! And you could see, like, with Trent Alexander-Arnold's face, he was just like he could not believe what had happened. And at this point, Liverpool must feel like they're destined to be in the Champions League next year because shit like that just doesn't happen.
My favorite bit, well, number one, I have to say that it's the best goalkeeper goal I've ever seen, I believe. Man, I remember the Brignoli goal, and now I remember that motherfucker's name, Brignoli, after losing in the quiz. When he scored against AC Milan, he literally like leaped and hoped that he would head it and score a goal. But here, man, it's the savviness. He kind of knows where it's going to be, and he just like turns it around perfectly. A Drogba-like header, you said. Absolutely, 100% since. And I don't know if they're destined. What do you think? Do you think they can make it? Because that depends also a lot on the other results that are going to be there.
They are waiting for other results. They are definitely like their fate isn't in their hands. But I just mean when something like that happens, when it's such a like iconic moment or such a like your goalkeeper scores in the 95th minute, it feels like it's meant to happen. And like for the players, I reckon they will take so much from that and be like, look, they will feel like they're meant to make it. That is a huge moment. Like when their strikers couldn't get it done, when their midfielders couldn't get it done, their keeper had to come up and just get the job done. I just feel like that will be such a big boost to the squad. Obviously, they still do have quite a lot of work to do, but I wouldn't rule them out just yet.
Yeah, I'm reading a comment by Steve Cole. Not as good as Chila and Rodrigo saying, I agree with you, but they used to score with their feet. Like they used to shoot like free kicks and penalties. Yeah, no, but I mean, for a goalkeeper who never does that, to just go up and get a ball like that and score a forward-like goal is quite insane.
The other shout, Tommy, I don't know if you know this guy, Jimmy Glass.
Was he the Liverpool keeper who died this year? No.
So this was, I'm about to give you some English football education, Tommy. So Carlisle were in the 4th division, I want to say, and they were playing to stay up. They were going to get relegated into the amateur leagues. And in the final minute, their goalkeeper runs up and scores the goal that keeps them in the division. And I think it's a chest and volley. Or it might just be a volley. But incredible goal and literally saved that club from extinction. So I think Jimmy Glass has to be mentioned whenever you talk about goalkeepers scoring. But
nice.
Alisson with his head, what a goal. And I think that's the only thing in the Premier League this weekend that really stood out. Apart from that, Manchester City had an absolute goal fest with Newcastle where nobody saw that coming. Ferran Torres scored a beautiful back heel flick. And Newcastle suddenly have gone from the most boring team in the league to the goaliest team in the league. So since the clocks went forward, Newcastle have scored the most goals of any other team in the Premier League. And it feels like Steve Bruce was getting a lot of stick for playing boring football, for being too negative. But funnily enough, now some of his attacking players have come back to full fitness. They've started playing attacking football. It's weird that, right? They've got the potential to be a very exciting team, Newcastle, with players like Sam Maximan, Callum Wilson, Almiron. They've got some really exciting flair, quick, pacey attacking players. So I hope we see a bit more entertaining football up on Tyneside. And then
there are rumors about Saint Maximin to Rome with Mourinho. I don't understand what's the Mourinho connection, but
he is absolutely box office. I absolutely love Sam Maximan. He's brilliant. Also, if you don't follow him on social media, fix that because he is absolutely hilarious. He just goes at random people who give him shit. It's brilliant. He uses memes all the time. He's a legend. He is absolutely box office. But after that, I just wanted to talk about Everton.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you what's wrong with the Blues from Liverpool, Chris? What's wrong with your bitter rivals?
They go and they beat Arsenal away. Of course, they fucking beat Arsenal away. And they beat West Ham. That's 2 wins in their last 14 games, I think, or last 11 games. That's 2 wins. But they'll beat Arsenal and then lose at home to Sheffield United. Like, on all accounts, the performance was absolutely shocking from Everton. Like, just spineless, no effort, just nothing. For Sheffield United, they're playing for pride and they're doing it quite well. They now have won more games than both Fulham and West Brom, which sounds mental. Like, considering they were on, 8 points for a very long time. They're now on 20 points and West Brom are only on 26, Fulham on 27. So even though they've not, obviously there was no way they were going to be able to stay up, but they've shown that they've got a lot of pride and they've managed to kind of put a bit of a season together in the second half and give the fans something to shout about. You have to say fair play to them. But also, as Chris said, Everton, they are shit.
There we go. Thank you for the explanation.
Should we talk about, is Carlo doing a good job? What do you think?
Man, I was looking at the results recently. He started very well. Let's say that he did the job that he should have done the entire season in the first half of the season. Once they reached that amount of points that they had set as a goal, I think that once they reached that, they kind of, when they realized they couldn't be relegated anymore, they were in the European spots. I think they started relaxing a little too much. And then they just hit like a streak of very, very bad performances. Ever since defeating West Brom 1-0, they've lost 5, drawn all the others, and won only 4. So yeah, not very consistent, I want to say. And at the beginning of the season, they were winning, they were playing good football. So I haven't paid that much of a close attention to Everton, but I wouldn't say he's done a very good job. He's done an all right job for being his first season.
Yeah, I feel like he's slowly turning the ship around, right? He's brought in the players like Alan, and he's brought in kind of these players that are just a bit of a step above Decore. I think, Hopeless Wanderer, you're right. There's still a few players there where you think, they're the level that Everton were at, not the level that they want to be at, right? And I think if they can keep hold of Calvert-Lewin, that would be huge. But they also need a few more threatening attacking players. And I love Iwobi. I really did like him when he was at Arsenal, but he's a very, very frustrating player, and he's not good enough for European football. I think they still need to bring a few in. Yeah, Carlo, like you said, it's only been a year. He'll need a bit more financial backing. Hopefully he'll get it, because these 7, 8 teams above them, they're not going to slow down. People are going to spend big this summer, I think. I can feel it coming.
Yeah, I agree with you. What else in the Premier League, Rory? There wasn't a full calendar this weekend.
No, well, a lot of the games are we're getting to the point where it's all kind of dead rubbers now, really. But there's 2 more things I wanted to talk about. Spurs beat Wolves 2-0, who Wolves have been absolutely disgraceful this season. Had some big injuries, but just what an awful season for Nuno. But Ryan Mason seems to be doing an all right job at Spurs. He's at least got the players happy. But while we're talking about Spurs, Tommy, the big news this evening, Harry Kane has reiterated that he wants to leave Spurs this summer. He's said it again. It's basically a transfer request that he's handed in. And the teams that are being linked to him are all in England. It is Arsenal. No, I'm joking. It is Manchester City, Manchester United, and Chelsea who are being linked. First thoughts, Tommy, where's he going?
I want to say Manchester United. I want to say Manchester United, but they've got Cavani. I would have to take a look at the contract situations as well. Are Real Madrid not in this picture? I'm surprised, because
they are not being. They've not been linked. The only foreign team I ever saw connected was Bayern Munich, which I think would be really interesting. And maybe but Barcelona get linked with everyone, but they're going to buy a 32-year-old Aguero instead. Barcelona ideas. But yeah, I'm surprised they're not being linked with him, really.
Yeah. No, I think, look, from an outside perspective, from an Italian perspective, I think it would be fun to see an iconic striker, an iconic English striker play for an iconic English team, the likes of Manchester United. I think that would be fun. That would be fun to watch. And I feel like there have been already a few links between Kane and United in the past. I wouldn't be very surprised. I think that City are going all in for Haaland. Kane at United. Can you imagine Haaland versus Kane in the Manchester derby? That would be ridiculous.
Hopeless Wanderer have just put a massive shout of PSG. Well, yeah, they're one of the only clubs that could afford him, I suppose, and reunite him with Poch, see if Poch can actually win a trophy with him. Would be an interesting thought experiment, I suppose. But yeah, it looks like he is not long for the White Hart Stadium. It'll be quite interesting because I get the feeling, and this isn't to like bask and gloat in it too much, but I get the feeling that once Harry Kane leaves, he might not be the last to leave. I feel like players like Son might suddenly start looking around and going, okay, I might be the only one left here. Bale, we don't know if he's going to stay. There was an interesting stat this week after Jermaine Defoe led the SPL with Rangers. He became the 7th player to move on from Tottenham to win a trophy since Tottenham won a trophy.
Dude, you froze for like 20 seconds. I didn't really understand what you said.
Oh, I thought you froze.
Wow.
Okay.
Who froze? Well, just repeat it.
So the stat was, for any Spurs fans who weren't listening at the back, once Jermaine Defoe won the SPL this weekend, he became the 87th player to leave Tottenham and win a trophy in the time that Tottenham haven't won a trophy. So I think there's a lot of players now that if Kane does leave, they'll be going, maybe I should go too. You're looking at Trippier. He's doing very well in Atletico. You're looking at Eriksen, done very well in Italy. Like, there's plenty of examples out there, and I think maybe this could not be the last one to leave. But before we jump too much on Spurs, I'll kind of give them a rest for now. And just want to say, I want to give myself a pat on the back for a prediction that I made at the beginning of the season about the potential signing of the season of Ebere Eze for Crystal Palace. He got 2 assists again this weekend as they beat Aston Villa 3-2. And his stats, so he has the same amount of goal involvements as Mason Mount, right? 4 goals and 7 assists, and only 1 less than Phil Foden, who has 7 goals and 5 assists. Now, I know that he's at Palace, who aren't a particularly fashionable club, kind of mid-table, but to be able to get those numbers at a team that have been fairly stagnant, especially attacking-wise all season, is very impressive. And I think if Arsenal aren't going to get Zaha, which it looks like they won't get Zaha, can we just get Eze? Because that guy is incredible to watch. He kind of runs in this walking style. Like, it's really weird. He slows the game down. His dribbling is just like mind games. He just like drops a shoulder and he's past you. His finishing is beautiful. I am a big fan of this guy, and I'm just that I said it in the first episode. It's one of the few, if not the prediction that I've made that looked slightly good after a couple of weeks.
True. And I would like to apologize. I don't know if I froze, Rory froze, but today I have a slightly bad connection, so it might be my fault. But yeah, I can certify that before the season started, Rory told me to keep an eye on this guy. And yes, we were going to talk about Barcelona. Thank you, S2F Gaming. Barcelona women defeating Chelsea women 4-0 yesterday. I watched the highlights quickly today. There was a beautiful through pass for the 3rd Barcelona goal. And
from Putellas, she is incredible. She was unbelievable. Yeah.
And they went down 3-0 in the first 21 minutes. So Chelsea women definitely need to work a little bit on their concentration in the opening minutes of a game. But yes, Barcelona being the only team in Barcelona able to bring the Champions League back like Messi had promised would happen.
But the first team to ever win the male Champions League and the Women's Champions League, and Chelsea, obviously the first team to qualify in both in the same year. Could they be the first team to lose both finals in the same year? Only time will tell. But I think that is England for now. We just wanted to finish on the Ebere Eze loving. Are we ready to go for Italy? Because I can feel there might be a bit of moaning coming from you, Tommy.
But no, I just wanted to say goodbye to the Premier League with an interesting stat. Alisson is exactly 1 goal shy of Timo Werner's tally in the Premier League this year. Pretty cool, right?
There's been it's been a meme this week of people just getting random players and comparing it with Alisson. It's like Steven Bergwijn for Spurs. Of course, the first one that comes to my mind is a Spurs player. He now has 1 more goal than Bergwijn this season. It's like, it's great. Keep them coming. It's brilliant. It has been compared to Willian as well, I think. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
But in Italy, no moaning, Rory. No, I'm not gonna moan. I'm not gonna moan when stuff that I've been used to for the better part of the past 28 years is flashed in front of my eyes again. It's just a little disgrace for the world of football in general, and for those teams that have seen penalties being denied when they were there, teams that are fighting relegation, teams that have lived through a bunch of injustices. I mean, praise to Cuadrado. Cuadrado is, I saw the best. The only thing I'm going to say is that I saw a great meme of the way Cuadrado sees the world. And basically, it's just, you just see the ground and a bunch of hair in front of you. And that's Cuadrado. And you see the cleats of the other players running towards you. No, man, it was ridiculous. That, I mean, the game itself, how can I judge the game without judging those calls? There was a goal disallowed to Inter Milan, that was absolutely irregular. My friend Michael was making me, he should have stood. My friend Michael was like, dude, just go online and check all the times that Chiellini pushes someone else or pulls their shirt and then dives to the ground like this. He creates a bit of contact, so it looks like a mess, confuses completely the referee, calls for a foul. He tried to have Inter's goal disallowed, his own goal disallowed as well for a foul on him, and it's him clearly pulling Lukaku's shirt. And then, hey, just give the Oscar to Juan Cuadrado. I mean, the kicking somebody else, literally kicking them in the shins and being awarded penalty is not for everyone. So good job, Juventus.
No, this happened in the Premier League last weekend. Wilfried Zaha threw, I don't know what happened there. He threw out his leg into the defender, went down and went for a penalty. It's getting that ridiculous with VAR now that any form of contact is now a penalty. I felt like the referee just had an absolute shocker. I think he gave bad decisions for both teams.
I agree with Steve.
It's just that the bad decisions outweigh towards Juventus, as they always do.
I agree with Steve. I don't think any of those penalties were penalties. Thank God Lautaro dived that way. Just he was like, is this the game we're going to play? Fine, I'm going to dive too. And there was, in that one, I have to say, there was a bit of contact. By the book, it should be a penalty. The other two, honestly, I mean, I wouldn't have given it, but the other two, I don't even think there was the contact. I promise that this summer I'm going to read the entire VAR thing on the official website on how it should be used, because I follow this page called the Errori Arbitrali, Referee Mistakes, on Instagram, and they were saying that by the book, the referee shouldn't have called the VAR in any of those occasions. Let's not forget, and from an Inter fan, there was no red card on Bentancur for Juventus either. And Brozovic, there was a red card on you, but next time, just fucking take his entire shin, because that piece of shit has been doing it. Juan Cuadrado, I have literally zero love. He's an incredible player. When I was at Fiorentina, I was all over him. He's an incredible player. He's just bought in the Juventus mentality hardcore. He's won the game. Fine. Is that the way you want to play? Fine. We will see if they go to the Champions League. If there is some karma, they should not go to the Champions League. Also because, judged solely on merit, after Inter Milan, the 3 teams that deserve to go to the Champions League are, in this order, Atalanta, Napoli, and AC Milan. Juventus have nothing to do with these 3 teams. AC Milan has had an incredible run, so now we can talk also about the other games. They didn't manage to beat Cagliari last night, which is a problem, because now they absolutely need to beat Atalanta on the last match day.
God.
Atalanta, on the other hand, they are sure to be in next year's Champions League after defeating Genoa in a thriller 4-3. But is there a difference between second and fourth spot? There are 5 million euros of differences. So you can be sure that even though Atalanta are already qualified, they are going to fight, also because, being a second seed is always better than being a fourth seed. Their manager, Stefano Pioli, has already put his hands in front, saying, if we don't qualify, it's not a failure. It's just a disappointment. Stefano, I see what you're doing there.
That is foolish. That's very, very foolish, because you've gone from winter champions to, okay, if we get Europa League, that's not too bad. Like, that's a pretty big step down.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm really hoping, I'm really crossing my fingers that Juventus do not qualify. I see both Milan teams in the Champions League. I'll take it. But the financial damage that it would cause Juventus not to qualify for Champions League, it would be insane. Also, Cristiano Ronaldo's 7 supercars have been taken away from his Turin house. They are not there anymore. The other morning, somebody posted a few pages, like normal people, they just posted videos of all these cars loaded onto a truck, and then it came out that they were Cristiano Ronaldo's. What do I think about him leaving Juventus, dear mother? Well, I hope that he leaves Juventus. I hope Juventus don't qualify to the Europa League. I hope they are relegated to Eccellenza, that they have to change their name to Piemonte Calcio, and then when they finally make it to Serie A, all the other teams are going to create a super league and
they're not invited.
Yeah, then you're not invited. That's it. But no, in Serie A, talking about Atalanta had a thriller of a win against Genoa. And I just wanted to talk about these 2 players. Gosens, who is a left back, a German left back. He's on 31 appearances this year, 11 goals and 6 assists. It's his best season ever. He's even better than last year when he had 9 goals and 8 assists. I repeat, he is a left back. And then we've got Ruslan Malinowski, the young Ukrainian, who's got already 35 games this year, 8 goals and 12 assists. Last year, he had 8 and 5, so he has already improved by quite a lot. And who are Atalanta thinking of for next year? Rodrigo De Paul from Udinese.
That is the transfer that everybody wants. That's the player that everybody wants.
Man, I would see him so perfectly in the Atalanta midfield. And I just wanted, once again, to just remind the listeners from other countries that Atalanta have qualified for the 3rd consecutive season to the Champions League. And up to 5 years ago, they were a mid to low table side. They were more in the B side of the rankings than on the A side. The reason why I've always said that I hated Atalanta was because Atalanta have always sucked, but whenever Inter Milan went playing them in Bergamo, you could be sure that they would put up a fight and win the game. That's why I say that I hate Atalanta, not because I disrespect the word that they have. No, great accomplishment. And the other team, Napoli, they win 2-0 against the Fiorentina. Insigne is best season ever, the 19 goals and 7 assists this season. And Zielinski, 35 games, 8 goals and 11 assists. Of course, they also need to win the last game that they have against Verona. Juventus take on Bologna, and then, as I've already said, we've got Atalanta, Milan. But what's also very interesting is the relegation. Roy, I was explaining you off mic that the 2 brothers are going to need each other. Actually, the older brother is going to need the younger brother.
Yeah, they will be asking for favors, right? Benevento still not quite safe. They got screwed by Simi in the 93rd minute. I just saw a tweet of, Crotone, what are you doing? Just nothing to play for. Sink him at the last second. Simi, what a season, man. But yeah, Benevento just not quite securing safety yet. I'm still going to say it. I think you're not long for this Serie A world. I think you shall be in Serie B next year.
Why did we talk about the two brothers needing each other? Because Pippo Inzaghi is the manager for Benevento and Simone Inzaghi is the manager for Lazio. This week, midweek actually, Lazio are taking on Torino, their game in hand. And the only way Benevento can hope to stay up is if Lazio beat Torino, and then on the last match day, Benevento-Torino, they would have the opportunity to beat them. That's the only result available since they tied the first game, to beat them and stay in Serie A. In that case, Torino would be relegated. Hopeless Wanderer is wondering whether Zielinski will stick at Napoli next season. Look, I don't know what the situation is at Napoli. A very close source told me that Gattuso is out. Gattuso and all of his staff, independently from the result, they're out. They're fed up with having to talk to such a shitty owner every day. They want out. It's very likely that he will go to Fiorentina. It depends on the players and it depends on the manager that will go there. There are rumors about Allegri. Well, Allegri was in Madrid today, but there are rumors he might go to Napoli. It depends a lot on the manager because, look, Adam, they've got a good team. They've got Zielinski, they've got Fabian Ruiz, they've got Osimhen, they've got Mertens, they've got Koulibaly and Manolas. This is a team that under Gattuso could do very well already next year, but only if an equal or better manager comes, I think that a lot of these players will stay. It feels like it's the beginning of a cycle a little bit. It's actually been building for quite a few years. Sarri back to Napoli? I don't know, man. That would be great.
That would be insanity, right? That would be insanity.
That would be great to see. Always in Serie A. Let me take a look quick at my notes. Oh yeah, I just want to say that Benevento's only win in the return leg of the Serie A has been against
I know this one.
Juventus.
Yeah.
Fucking Juventus. Yeah, so this is why Juventus is the team that deserves not to go up. But in bigger news, this Wednesday, it's the Coppa Italia final between Atalanta and Juventus. Rory, can we say that Bergamo is the Italian Leicester?
I think there are more than one similarity. I think I have thought it before. Yeah, Atalanta, the Italian Leicester. All they need is a Scudetto, and why not start with a Coppa Italia win against Juventus? You could definitely see them doing it, right? You could definitely see them beating them.
They deserve it so much, man. In Italian, we would say I've got a poison the tooth against Juventus today. I really do. I'm going to watch this game. I'm going to cheer them on for the entire 90 minutes. Steve Cole is saying Atalanta will win. We are not going to say anything because we usually suck at this shit. But no, man, it would be huge, really massive. They haven't won anything yet under Gasperini, and I think they've been in a Coppa Italia final already. They lost it against Lazio. I think that this one would really be a beautiful gift for all the players, for Gasperini, whom I can't stand either, and to the city of Bergamo that highly deserves it, especially after being hit so hard by COVID here. So we shall see. And the last thing that I wanted to say is that Sanchez on 22 starts for Inter, he's been involved in 20 goals. And finally, Simi is the second African player in Serie A to get to 20 goals after Eto'o. The best ever goal scorer for Crotone will have a chance to equal and maybe overtake Eto'o's total tally of 21. We love Samuel, but you know what? Samuel Eto'o has got already quite a few records under his belt.
Yeah,
so this
he can
one
give
is
one
for
up.
you.
Yeah, he can give one up.
This one is for you, Nwankwo Simi. I love that you have such an easy last name, so people don't call you Nwankwo because it would be so complicated.
Where is he going to go next season? There's got to be teams queuing up for him in Serie A now.
Yeah, I mean, as a second striker, I would love to have him at Inter Milan to be like sort of like Lukaku super sub. That would be great, I think. I'm trying to think of other teams. Dusan Vlahovic. I don't really know are going to sell him or not. I don't think so, especially if Gattuso is coming. But there are going to be some changes and the CL, it would be a bit of a waste to see him again in Serie B. But Rory, let's go elsewhere. We've got 10 minutes to do a quick
we need to quickly,
Bundesliga.
We need to just quickly say that Roma won the derby, the eternal derby. What's it called?
Yeah, Derby della Capitale. It was a little
they won
2-0.
You got to mention that, right?
You're right. That was bad journalism from my part. They've won the Derby 2-0. This is their first Derby win in nearly 2 years and a half in Serie A. I still don't believe that Fonseca did that terrible of a job at Roma. I think, when you lose 7-2, what was it, 6-2, 7-2, you got to be out, man, especially after a season where you haven't achieved much. Roma are not in Europe. They're probably going to play this newly formed Conference League. I still don't think he did such a bad job, and I'm glad that he was able to gift the Romans with a win before his departure. And yes, I haven't watched the game, Adam, but I did hear that Lazio were nowhere in the game. And I just listened to the press conference of Simone Inzaghi after the game, and he just sounded like worn out. I do think that Simone Inzaghi might be out as well. It feels like this cycle could have achieved more. They didn't. It's time to go away. Maybe at Spurs. There are increasing rumors of ingoing talks with Spurs from Simone Inzaghi. Guys, I apologize if there were any delays, but we are already towards the end of the episode. Rory, let's go to Germany, where there is one name and one name only that we've got to mention to start with.
Is it the fact that Schalke ruined my accumulator by winning their first game in 18 games? Because that is the overriding emotion that I have when I was looking at a nice £1,000 win on my accumulator, and then Schalke managed to win for the first time ever at home to 5th place Frankfurt. That definitely ruined my weekend, but congratulations, Schalke. That was the headline of the weekend, I believe. Beyond that, I think you were referring to Dortmund. Were you talking about Dortmund?
No, I was referring to Robert Lewandowski, man. Equaling Gerd Müller's tally of most goals scored in a single Bundesliga season.
Yep, 40 goals for Robert Lewandowski now. Incredible. He has one game left where he will beat the record, right? I would be very surprised if he doesn't get a goal in the final game of the season where they will be playing. I need to double check it because I did write it down, but my memory is terrible. They are at home to Augsburg, so you would expect maybe Lewandowski hat trick. Get your money on that, I would say. Elsewhere in Germany, Dortmund
listen to the guy who just lost $1,000 because of Schalke when you want to place a bet, right?
Yeah, guys, honestly, fucking Schalke, man. Anyway, elsewhere in Germany, Dortmund managed to win the DFB Pokal, beating Leipzig 4-1 in the final. Sancho getting 2, Haaland scoring, just an absolute battering in the final, and then followed that up by beating Mainz 3-1 this weekend to secure Champions League football. So a great weekend for Dortmund. Elsewhere, Hertha, they managed to confirm their safety after they beat Schalke 2-1, then drew 0-0 with Köln. The Hertha coach was then seen on Sports Studio in Germany in the evening smoking a massive cigar a la Tommi after the Scudetto. So, you know, he's as big a baller as you are, Tommi. You'll be happy to know. But the relegation battle is still looking far from over. So Köln, Bremen, and Bielefeld are all separated by 2 points, and any of them could either be relegated, go into the playoff spot, or survive. It's going to be tight down there. And just to help that, Werder Bremen have sacked their manager. They've waited until the last game of the season to sack their manager, and they have now appointed club legend Thomas Schaaf. So he's played for the club. He had 281 appearances, won the league with them twice as a player and the Pokal twice. He then won the league with them as a manager in 03-04 and won the cup with them 3 times as a manager too. So he is a club legend, and they will be hoping that he could just give them that new manager bounce to keep them in the Bundesliga for now. If they do get relegated, it will be their first relegation since 1980. So all tight still at the bottom of the Bundesliga. Tommy, should we go to Spain?
Yeah, just a quick shout to Dortmund. I remember there was a moment where we were counting them out of the Champions League. Well, ever since losing on their return leg to City, they have managed to win 7 games out of 7 in all competitions. So good job, Dortmund, for securing your UCL place next season. Guess who is hoping not to draw you in the group stage of the Champions League? That's me. I don't want Haaland wreaking havoc in our group. Going in Spain. Should we start from Barcelona's farsightedness? Suarez is too old, so we're going to send him to our direct rivals. And then the next summer, we are going to sign Aguero, who is just a little older than him. What the fuck?
Nothing at that club makes sense. Nothing at that club makes sense. And the whole decision was highlighted on Sunday, by the fact that the exact moment where Luis Suarez scores the winner, Martin Braithwaite manages to miss an absolute sitter. And it is just one of those beautifully poetic kind of karma kick in the dick for Barca, as they have been massively disrespectful to Luis Suarez. And you could see the absolute determination. So I sat and watched this game. It's the first time I've watched Atleti in a while, like the full game. And I was worried that I would jinx them just by watching them. But especially as
you almost did.
Mate, and it took them a long time. The first half, Luis Suarez had about 8-10 chances where he could have scored. He hit the post, and it looked like it was just never going to happen. I was like, Atletico are ruining it. And then the first attack, the first shot on goal, Osasuna score, and Oblak does save it. It's just behind the line. And you think, this is so Atletico. This is like the most Atletico way to fuck it. But then the equalizer was an absolutely beautiful, like absolutely belted it in to equalize. The guy's name escapes me now. Renan Lodi with a beautiful, just absolutely, my God, there was hate in that shot. And then, of course, Luis Suarez manages to bag the winner. There was a great moment of Diego Simeone. They had a cooling break, and he's got them all round. He's like, guys, calm heads, it'll come. And it's just beautiful. They went out and they got the win, and they've got 1 game left, but nobody wants to win it because Barcelona lost to Celta Vigo at home.
Barcelona lost to Celta Vigo at home. Beautiful assist from Busquets. Messi makes it 30 goals in La Liga, takes Barcelona up 1-0. Guys, I've got my notes on a Post-it for some reason. Sometimes I do weird stuff. I usually write everything on my computer. But then the first Santi Mina goal for Celta Vigo, I really can't understand what happened. There is absolutely no defense around him. They give him space. He takes aim, shoots. And Ter Stegen, I mean, that's a difficult shot when your defender is not even going for it and you're leaving him that much space. But try and dive, I don't know why he's planted with his feet on the ground like that. Then Araujo had a Werner-like miss for Barcelona. He skied it over the crossbar when he could have just tapped it in like that. Lenglet got a red card, but then at the 88th minute, Solares gets an incredible crossbar with a very wiggly cross. He hits the crossbar, the ball bounces right in front of Santi Mina, who absolutely punches it in the back of the net. That's 2-1 for Celta Vigo. Barcelona say goodbye to their title hopes. We are going to see next weekend. Only 1 game left to play. They're all two. The only thing that Madrid can do to seal this title win is to win that game. That Real Madrid does the same, either draw or do worse, so lose. But yeah, a win is the only thing that they need. Have we been backing them? I don't know. Are we cheering for them? I don't know. Are we hoping they win? I don't know. Not going to say it in this spot anymore.
No comment. Just 1 game left.
And one last thing about that Atletico game, beautiful goal by Renan Lodi. But when I saw the replay, I was like, who is that sexy midfielder who served him such a beautiful ball? It was Joao Felix, man. Joao Felix dropping low and doing this little beautiful chip pass. He celebrated more than anybody, I think. It's let's not forget, he's had a hard season. He's a striker at Atletico, and you can only imagine the pressure that there is on you when you follow the footsteps of the great Forlan, Agüero, Falcao's, Torres, and everything. But he could end the season with a title, and I'm backing him. Go Joao.
Yeah, well,
Let's go to France.
He came on and he made a real difference. He made a real difference when he came on. He did give them a bit more energy up front, a bit more creativity. I think he did make a big difference. So a big future ahead for that lad. And Atletico better hope so, because they paid enough for him. But in France, we have, it's all going down to the last day again. Lille drew 0-0 with Saint-Etienne in the most frustrating game, in which Lille probably could have had 2 or 3 penalties. They probably could have had 4 or 5 goals. It just didn't happen. And meanwhile, PSG absolutely battered Reims 4-0 as they had a man sent off early on. Mbappe now has 40 goals in all competitions, which is a record for him. And it is looking tense. The Lille manager, Christophe Galtier, in his post-match conference just said, well, at least there is suspense. I think he is pretty annoyed that they've not managed to wrap it up. But players who did impress me for Lille, Renato Sanchez. Now, when he played in the Premier League, it was a bit of a failed experiment. He was at Swansea. It just didn't really work. And people were thinking, what's the hype around this guy? But he came on and he, again, made a real big difference to Lille, was really incisive. His dribbling was incredible. But as always with Renato Sanchez, he just needs to be a bit more clinical, a bit more composed, and he could be a hell of a player. So the title race goes into the final day, where PSG are going to be playing Brest away, lol, and Lille are going to be playing Angers away. So as long as Lille do better than PSG, they will be fine. But the relegation battle in France is looking pretty intense, as we've got 6 teams all separated by 2 points. So 18th all the way up to 13th. So we have in 18th, we have Nantes on 40 points. In 13th, Reims on 13. So any of these teams, depending on how they do at the weekend, could go into the relegation playoff zone. So it's going to be, I think, a day of where they have the live table during the matches. I always love that. It's always well exciting. I think that's definitely going to be the case in France for the relegation zone and for the title race. So an exciting season in Ligue 1 this year. Great to see. You gotta love it.
Too quick. I've never played football, as our listeners know, never in a club, never in a team. But I've always thought of 2 situations that can carry like a school metaphor. So basically, arriving to the last day of the league, having to save yourself or qualify for something. It feels like, those times when you went to school that you're just like, you find yourself 2 hours before the exam and you see these like 40 pages to study and you're just like, holy fuck, man, like, God, it's so late. I could have like studied more. I think there are so many of these moments. Like if we had like in a day where, so also in the Turkish Super League, Besiktas won by 1 goal. They were even on points, even on games won, even on everything. They won by 1 goal more. Can you imagine the other team thinking of all the chances that they've missed? Like that one time.
Any penalty you've missed now becomes massive. Like,
man, absolutely. And the other thing that I often think about is World Cup final. You have to go like take the final penalty and you wonder, God damn it, yesterday in training, I should have stayed 5 minutes more and maybe shot a few more penalties. But this said, guys, we've got a week full of action. On Tuesday night, Roy, I'm going to do a Premier League match preview, if you don't mind. We are going to have at 7 p.m. Manchester United take on Fulham, Southampton Leeds, and then at 8, we've got Brighton Man City, and at 9:15, Chelsea Leicester. once again. And on Wednesday night, Everton Wolves and Newcastle Sheffield United, besides Tottenham and Aston Villa, all at 7. And then Crystal Palace Arsenal at 8. Ooh, go Gunners. Burnley Liverpool at 9:15 and West Brom West Ham at 9:15 in Italy. Sorry, Vardy, am I forgetting something?
No. I was just going to say, we've not even mentioned the playoffs tonight. Bournemouth beat Brentford 1-0 earlier on this evening, and Swansea are currently, it's halftime, and they're 1-0 up against Barnsley in the first leg of the playoffs. Keep an eye out on the playoffs. The games are always fantastic. Sorry, Tommy, do your Serie A fixtures.
No, you just reminded me that there are the playoffs, and Cittadella have won 3-0 against Balotelli's Monza, while Venezia are currently winning 1-0 against Lecce. I did see their bus yesterday, Roy. I sent you a picture. I was driving in the motorway. And I saw the Lecce bus driving the opposite direction, and I took a picture. But guys, talking about relegation, on Thursday, we're going to have a very special guest. He's one of my best friends. He lives in Barcelona. He's quite a shy guy, but then we convinced him to come on the pod. He's the one who's been backing Cittadella all along. Tune in on Friday to listen to the episode, because the finals, the Serie B playoff finals, are going to be set, and is going to give you all the information that you need to have, just like our friend Chris did for the championship in last Friday's episode. In Italy on Wednesday, we've also got the Coppa Italia final, Atalanta Juventus at 9 p.m. You know that we're all about the Nerazzurri regardless. And I guess that's it. And then on Friday, we'll see you with one of the last episodes of the season. We're going to talk about Serie B and much, much more. Rory, anything more to say for our listeners?
Because I am terrible at remembering cup competitions, we also have the Coupe de France final is on Wednesday at 9:15. Monaco versus PSG. Can Poch get his first trophy for the Parisians, or will Fabregas lift another trophy? Find out on Wednesday. That's it. I'm finished.
We're done, guys. We were a little bit all over the place today. It's it feels like, I don't know, the sun is out. There are like the summer temperatures, and we've had a good weekend. Inter have won the league. Today we're a little bit like this, but thank you.
I was hungover all day, so you've got to allow me, honestly.
Thank you so much. Almuñeca Girl says to be safe while we're home. It's past curfew. We can go anywhere. We're going to be safe. Thank you so much, Steve Cole, who's going to need a few screens. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Chris. Thank you to anybody who's tuned in. I guess we'll talk to you again on Friday. Bye.